Alright, let's go for it. Hello, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will focus on the topic of this omnipresent loneliness that you may or may not heard about and why it actually came to be. Quite a lot related also to work and sort of efficiency, happiness, and stuff like that. I'll be taking a cursory glance, or not a cursory glance, but I will be looking quite heavily at my notes. That's how I tend to do it, and I also publish after my first take, so let's roll with it. So, how about starting? Let me just have a look, see. Um, uh, right, yes. Uh, we really do live in amazing times where, we have this incredible tech at our disposal, and yet we feel less connected than ever. I don't know if you get what I mean here. It sort of like takes what 0.2 seconds for us to message someone across the world, but do you remember the last time we had a deep conversation, maybe over a cup of coffee or a walk in a park with someone close to you? So, mm, yeah, yeah, we feel like Wilson and Castaway, but with just more emojis, right? But why do we feel more alone than ever? That's the sort of central question here. And yeah, we have like 500 or more friends online, Facebook and so on. But do we have someone that we can rely on that will help us to, I don't know, move a couch if we need it, if we have that need? I'm not sure. Um, I think it's partly to blame the remote work, that came about through pandemic and sort of stayed to a great extent, but also obviously social media since like 2010, and they really exploded before pandemic, and even of course keeps exploding, so to speak. And the digital life have shifted connections to more connected session therapy. Work has become an identity, personality trait, dating profile headline, right? So sort of yeah. Again, work is taking an omnipresent place in our lives. Again, I'm not sure if you have noticed this, if this holds true for you, but sadly it does to many in developed countries, and same holds true maybe here in Sweden where I live. Like if you meet someone even at some sort of, let's say, Alkari or whatever, people sort of introduce themselves by what they do apart from the name. So again, it's becomes that central. Um, but um, but you're not burned out. You're just not hustling hard enough, says your sixth productivity podcast, right? Um, but there's this absurdity in it, like human output is measured by sort of or actually measuring human by output alone, how effective a person is, hopefully by thanks to AI and robotization, automatization, and so on. Perhaps all that sort of will be left alone to the machines, whereas we will maybe hopefully regain our sort of humanity, right? That's the high hopes, and not a scenario from iRobot or Terminator and so on, right? So I really do have high hopes for AI and automatization, but sooner than later, actually, in order to regain our humanity. It's sort of as sort of counterintuitive as it may sound, right? So due to even more tech around us, and far better tech, hopefully we will be granted more leeway to hang out, obviously, make deeper connections with each other, and also have different measures in how, when it comes to output of humans, right? Or maybe output won't be, important at all when it comes to humans. So there's high hopes for that. Right. Tyranny of productivity. Being busy is really glorified nowadays. Actually, people also sort of wear this as badge of honor, being busy as opposed to being effective, right? But I could make, and I probably will make a completely different video on that, right. People sort of think that rest is for the weak, or for people with boundaries. Um, so yeah, to do obsession and sort of optimization culture will live there again, more so since in the 80s when the paradigm shift came to be. I mentioned it in my previous video, I think, or one of the previous videos, where the sole purpose of a man, or not a man, but of a human being, or rather employee or in companies, was to keep optimizing for the results, for increasing the results, right, the output, by lowering costs and producing more. So even sleep needs to be productive now. Got your sleep score, bro, right? I know with the latest Apple Watch, they're so one of the latest ones, but there's also plenty like Aura Ring that measures sleep quality. People tend to do that. This has become a thing as well. Even I considered it, but then I sort of realized, or actually arrived at the conclusion that I I shouldn't be measuring too much. I actually am wearing normally an analog watch, even though I bought Apple Watch twice and I sold it twice, mainly because I didn't want another device to be forced to charge every night, apart from my phone and iPad and computer and so on, so and AirPods. So that's enough. But also, I suppose I don't want to be. I miss those rings, movement rings and so on. They give you this sort of boost of dopamine, but no. Let's reclaim humanity, so to speak, and go a bit more analog, and at least a little bit to begin with. The morality of doing nothing, right? Right, again, doing nothing feels really sort of wrong, unearned, and wasteful. People really feel, people, by people, I mean, again, those who are mostly from the developed countries, they feel they get pangs of conscience when they don't sort of fill in the calendar to the brim with tasks that should yield some sort of result, right? I was one of those people, and sort of in a way still am, but I am trying to lean away, right? So I sort of change my mind, my mind, my attitude, and so on, in order to again be more present and enjoy and or content with my life, right? Um, so right, this I think this is the capitalism to blame, right? Um, right, this boredom and silence is just perceived as missed opportunities for growth, right? And again, it feels wrong, but that's where we are at. So we sort of we live in a loop, right? We produce, we consume, we buy, we get the dopamine kick. We need to produce more and more, buy stuff. So it has to do a lot with consumerism and with all this machine, or even like this hamster spinning in a wheel, bombarded with even more personalized ads due to all those social media apps we use, and we sort of give away our information about ourselves, so that all the ads can be tailored perfectly, so that we even we are least likely to say no to the next purchase because it feels so good, like we really need it, and very often perhaps we do, but it's not like an like an immediate need, but we fill it in because it's so tailored to our needs because the ads know us so well. So it's sort of it's a trap, right? A hard to escape. Um, yeah, exactly. So your dopamine hits are scheduled more efficiently than your meals. It's all about dopamine. Even binge watching, the streaming series. Again, I had a separate video I have on my channel on dopamine, but I'll probably make more because I feel like it plays such a crucial part in our lives nowadays. Dopamine hits, how it sort of steers how we behave, what we buy, who we are. Even like dopamine junkies to an extent. Some more than others are addicted to it. Even myself again, I'm trying to lean away from being addicted to dopamine myself. Right, there's some sort of tips from me to just try to break free, like for example monotasking, doing one thing at a time. It's not probably as glorified, but again, your brain will thank me later. That's something that I'm trying to do, introducing more and more into my work, because it sort of you get stuff done as well, right? But I know it's been trendy to multitask. I'm a good multitasker and so on. Monotasking, highly recommend to sort of chillax and don't stress your brain out as much, while working and while living life. Um, right, do you remember actually focusing on one task? I could say neither do I, but apparently it was a thing, right? But I don't know if it's becoming a thing. Highly recommended from me. Um, Again, yeah, there's plenty of studies that show more clarity of mind, deeper work, and even happiness there by monotasking. Another thing I mentioned here, like sort of in a way earlier in this video, going analog. I'm a huge fan of journaling. Again, I have mentioned in my previous videos loads of benefits and hope, and ideally journal on true paper. Perhaps have a separate notebook just for journaling, and with pen, or get fancy a fountain pen just to feel pleasure of writing things down manually. To sort of touch the paper, see the ink, brain reacts differently to it, and again your eyes will sort of rest from the screen, and you will lower the chance of sort of multitasking, or maybe even ending up at scrolling endlessly on social media, because while you're on iPad, computer, or your phone and trying to journal in this way, you're a bit more likely to end up doing something completely different than what you initially intended. So again, journaling, a huge one. Try also real life conversations, going for walks, brilliant, hard at the beginning because it feels odd, it's not, you're not like, you don't get this instant dopamine hit while doing all this stuff, but that's the point, sort of, and it's like with any addiction, very challenging at the very beginning, right? So try to incorporate maybe one thing at a time, baby steps. Always the best sort of way to go, normally. Right. Um, yeah, right. Boredom and silence aren't voids to fill, right? They are sort of a space or room to breathe in and reflect. Try to see those like that. Yeah, exactly. Boredom is your brain's composting time. Don't skip it. I want to mention, like, again, I mentioned that in one of my previous videos. I love the Italian word of apropos this, il dolce far niente, which means sweetness of doing nothing. I am currently learning it. And again, it's not easy, but it's just sitting with a cup of coffee and just enjoying this coffee. Maybe a fancy glass or a simple glass, maybe good quality coffee. Maybe you grounded the beans yourself, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be coffee either. Go for a walk, feel the breeze. It's almost like meditation in a way. But yeah, just chillaxing, doing sort of nothing. A French, I think, have a phrase for it as well, like l'art de vie, or l'art de livre, or the art of living, sort of, again, enjoying your life, simple pleasures, cooking a meal and so on. So simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, like, it's one of the quotes that I like. So I sort of I'm trying to learn back with it and incorporate it into my life consciously and intentionally. This is very important. Try to live your life more intentionally, everyday life, right? Um, so yeah, this is this absurdity of our hyper-connected, hyper-effective life that we end up just stressed, filling in with everything, trying to accomplish more, maybe buy more, but we end up being miserable, or at least less happy than we sort of intended, because all those buys and everything, they're all short-lived dopamine hits. And the thing is to, I think, the art is to enjoy every day and simple things. Uh, Again, I'm sounding very philosophical, but in the end, I am a bit philosophical and I enjoy it. But in the end, I think it sort of it translates into a more fulfilling life, content, life. Yeah, and a challenge I want to end with: try doing one thing at a time today, or better yet, try doing nothing, and not feeling guilty about it. That's challenging, right? I know I've been there. I am there in a way here, still learning myself. Sounds revolutionary, I know, right? Doing nothing and not feeling guilty about it. So yeah, go for it. I wish you oodles of good luck. So that's it for today. And obviously, you have subscribed by my channel, and you will leave a plethora of comments. All the positive ones, the negative ones, you can keep them to yourself and journal about them, and then you can cry over them. Nah, I'm just joking. But hopefully, if this sort of content seems to be to your liking, consider subscribing, and it'd be lovely if you left a comment so we can sort of interact. And I like the video if you did like it, right? And don't use this one. It feels very negative, and we don't like that in on this show. No, uh, do as you please, and thank you so much for your precious time, the most precious of commodities, right? And hopefully I'll talk to you soon, right? Bye.